again. Thank you for your patience. I think we have our technical difficulties resolved. We're going to do a couple of things. Just want to break it down, so the process. We're going to redo the roll call, and we're going to go into public comment after that, followed by a hearing, and then closed session. And then after closed session, we're going to go back into the regular agenda items. So, Serena, if you could please do roll call and reestablish that.
President Martinez,
Here.
Vice President Rufino, Dr. Amistad, Dr. Ascari,
Here.
Ms. D'Antonio,
Here.
Ms. Haggard,
Here.
Mr. Hallinan, Mr. Hartley, Ms. Matheson, Mr. Sanchez, Mr. Villegas, Mr. Waldeck,
Here.
Ms. Wong. We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Okay, we will now open the floor for public comment. If there's anybody from the public, please step up. Please state your name.
The name is David Schwegel. 5-second pause for station identification. Here we go. All right, my name is David Schwegel. I'm licensed in civil and traffic in California, traffic in Oregon, civil in Washington. And I would like to talk if all 50 states were to license traffic engineers. All 12 Canadian provinces do so, and they have volumes that speak to that. The professional traffic operations engineer is a standardized examination given in the U.S. and Canada, and part of the exam is on the American government. The Canadian passing rate is an amazing 99% versus only 63% in the United States. Canada is light years ahead of the United States when it comes to innovation in traffic engineering. For example, prepared stop when amber flashing has been the standard in British Columbia since at least 1986, and trying to get Caltrans to implement that here in California is like pulling teeth. Also, recall that Vancouver, BC was able to pull off a successful Winter Olympics, even though the city has the fourth worst traffic congestion in North America and no freeways. Now, I was talking to Ken Fuller, the executive director for the Washington board, and he tells me that if I can get 10 licensing boards to issue letters of support to NCAAS for a traffic engineering exam, then NCAAS will move forward with preparing and administering and selling such an exam to all the 50 states, and that means that the bar on traffic engineering will be raised significantly. I am currently working with a number of states, California being one of those, and I would be honored if California could please be one of those states that administers such a letter to NCAAS. Specifically, you need to keep in mind that traffic collisions cost California $100 billion a year. We also need to keep in mind that 3 of the 5 of the nation's most congested cities are here in California. Now, I am working through a number of states. Arizona put me on their agenda 2 years ago. I'm asking the California please put me on the agenda for the next board meeting. I am going to be speaking to Nevada on November the 6th. I'm additionally working with Oregon, Idaho, Utah, Colorado, Texas, Florida, and New York. So I look forward to your favorable reply on getting me on the agenda, just like Arizona did 2 years ago. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else from the public who would like to make a public comment in the room? Seeing none, moderator, can you please open public comment on WebEx?
WebEx is open for public comment. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand. And for our mobile device users, you may need to hit the ellipses button. That's the ... in order to find your hand. We're going to take a few more seconds to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request for public comment, or at least no online request, do you wish to continue?
Yes, thank you. Okay, public comment is now closed. We will be moving forward with the hearing, and I will be handing over procedures to the administrative judge.
Good morning. My name is Timothy Aspinwall. I'm an administrative law judge with the state of California, and I am here today to preside over the hearing in the matter of the petition for reinstatement of Dmitry Lashkovich. This is the case number 1300-A and Office of Administrative Hearings number 2025080-418 before the Board for Professional Engineers, Land Surveyors, and Geologists. The record should reflect that we have a quorum of board members present. And Mr. Lashkovich, if you can please step forward to the table. Thank you. And if your microphone is not on, you feel free to turn it on.
Hello? Seems to be on.
And at this point, may I please have an appearance from the Attorney General's office? Oh, yeah. We are on the record. And we are on the record in the matter of the petition for reinstatement of Dmitry Lashkovich in the case number 1300-A, Office of Administrative Hearings number 2025080-418 before the Board for Professional Engineers, Land Surveyors, and Geologists. My name is Timothy Aspinwall. I'm an administrative law judge presiding in this matter. And may I please have the appearance from the Attorney General's office?
Good morning. Melissa Seamantle, Deputy Attorney General. I'm appearing on behalf of the Attorney General pursuant to Government Code Section 11522, representing the people of the state of California. I'm here to assist the board in fact-finding. My role is not adversarial, but is intended to protect the public interest. I am here to ensure that the board has adequate information from which to make a decision.
Thank you. And the record should reflect that Mr. Lashkovich is present and you are here representing yourself, correct?
Correct.
So prior to the hearing, Mr. Lashkovich, I spoke with you briefly about the process, which I will go over again here. First, these proceedings concern your rehabilitation since the prior discipline. This is not an opportunity to relitigate the prior discipline, although you may refer to it in the circumstances if you wish. Procedurally, the Deputy Attorney General will first present a case summary to the board, including your petition package, which I will mark and admit into evidence. You will then have an opportunity to testify under oath. The Deputy Attorney General and board members will also have an opportunity to ask questions of you under oath. After the hearing, the board will go into closed session to deliberate, and you will receive a decision later, not today. It will be mailed to you. Do you have any questions about procedure?
I do not.
Ms. Seamantle, do you wish to give a case summary?
Yes, Your Honor. And also, I believe before we went on the record, you had indicated that there is a quorum. Is that correct?
There is a quorum present. Thank you.
In regards to a brief background, the board issued petitioner license number C87250 as a civil engineer on June 1st, 2017. On or about March 29th, 2022, citation order 11012-L was issued to petitioner. The citation ordered petitioner to submit a written response to the board's enforcement unit's inquiry regarding the complaint filed against him in case number 2020-06 128, and also an order to pay an administrative fine in the amount of $500. Petitioner failed to comply with the citation. On or about March 29th, 2022, citation order 11013-L was issued to petitioner. The citation ordered petitioner to submit a written response to the board's enforcement unit's inquiry regarding the complaint filed against him in case number 2021-04-119, and also an order to pay an administrative fine in the amount of $500. Petitioner failed to comply with the citation. Again, on March 29th, 2022, citation order 11014-L was issued to petitioner. The citation again ordered petitioner to submit a written response to the board's enforcement unit's inquiry regarding a complaint that was filed against him in case number 2021-07-227, and also an order to pay an administrative fine in the amount of $500. Petitioner failed to comply with that citation. On or about May 31st, 2023, an accusation was filed against petitioner in board case number 1300-A for failures to comply with the 3 citations that were issued against him and failures to respond to written requests in investigations of complaints regarding 2 projects. Petitioner failed to file a notice of defense to the accusation. Effective August 30th, 2023, petitioner's license was revoked pursuant to a default decision and order in case number 1300-A. Petitioner is requesting that the board reinstate his license. Because the burden is on petitioner, I have no further statements, but would reserve the right to question the petitioner and also to address the exhibits,
Do you wish to address the exhibits at this point?
if I may.
Yes.
What I would ask to be marked and admitted as Exhibit 1 is the petition packet, which contains the following: the petition for reinstatement with supporting documents with personal information redacted, the notice of hearing, license certification for petitioner, and default decision and order in board case number 1300-A. And I would ask those documents be admitted for all purposes.
Those documents, the petition packet, is admitted as Exhibit 1.
Thank you. What has been contained in Case Center in regards to, I guess you could call it item Z, that could be marked as Exhibit 2. They are 2 letters of support submitted by petitioner subsequent to the submission of the petition packet. Personal information has been redacted. I would ask that those be admitted for all purposes. And additionally, it is my understanding that petitioner brought with him today a 3rd letter of support, which I will upload to Case Center subsequent to this hearing. And if that could be marked as Exhibit 3, and I will redact any personal information and ask to have that document admitted as well.
Okay, the letters of support are admitted as Exhibits 2 and 3, as indicated. Okay, anything else, Ms. Seamantle, before I swear in the petitioner?
No.
So, Mr. Lashkovich, this is your opportunity to say what you have to say to the board. So let me swear you in. If you will stand and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Please be seated. Okay,
Thank you, Your Honor.
please proceed.
I was told not to get too much into past details, but I think that it's very relevant to just briefly discuss what happened and why it was that I missed the board correspondence and I did not respond to the allegations. I was stranded in another country. I was stranded in Mongolia. It happened during COVID. My wife got seriously ill during pregnancy. It involved high blood pressure. She passed away 1 month after giving birth in Mongolia. So that happened in 2022. In April, she gave birth. May, she passed away. So 1 month, right around the times that this was happening, that the notices were coming. During the time, I apologize, a little bit difficult to talk about that. During that time, while I was stranded because of COVID, I did lose access to my apartment and my mail. So the letters that were sent to me, I did not receive. Right now, I'm here to explain to the board how I have what actions were taken to remediate let me rephrase that. I used to be a one-man shop, and that created the following issues: that if something happened to me, all of my clients had nobody to go to. I have, since my return in February of this year to the United States, changed the way that I did business to no longer have just one person, just me, responsible for everything. Now I'm partnered with a company called RPM, which is a national company, and I'm a 1099 with them. So if something, God forbid, was to happen to me tomorrow, this would no longer occur because they would have people to go to. They have other engineers, other resources that would be able to take over these projects, and clients would not have a reason to complain. So that issue has been resolved. Would you like me to continue talking about ways that I have things that I have done to try and mitigate and improve to avoid such things from happening in the future?
Yes, please.
I'm still licensed in the state of Nevada and the state of Washington. And since February, I've continued to practice, take on new clients through RPM team in those states. I still practice in California under the direction of licensed engineers. I have a great wealth of experience and in civil and structural engineering. Over 17 years in public and private sectors, as well as I was self-employed since 2019. At the time when I left the United States, it was intended to be a short trip, and because of COVID and the testing and the way that things worked in Mongolia, the country where I was, we had to be isolated under quarantine. Prior to leaving the United States, I had completed personally around 600 projects. So I've had, and the way that it works is, let's say that I have a homeowner that wanted to do a wall demolition. I create a plan for him, structural plan showing the beams, the posts, the foundations. That owner then brings the plans to the building department, and I do not have control over when they bring those plans or whether there are architectural issues or other things. So I might not receive any review comments, or I might not hear back from my client for a year maybe. So it's kind of the nature of the business. It could be quick, it could be no comments, I could have some review comments from the building department, as an example. So out of my 600 clients that I've had since I started my self-employment endeavor, I really did my best to try and keep up with anything that came my way. The clients that fell through the cracks during the difficult times in my life, I am very regretful for that. Moving forward, I have established ways to not have that happen again through RPM team. I also have a phone number that is a voice over IP number that works anywhere in the world. So I'm always able to be reached by my clients. I've continued education. Mostly I educate myself. There's Udemy courses that I'm taking, as well as new literature that I'm buying in order to advance my knowledge in my profession. in general, I'm continuing to try to be as ethical and upfront as possible. Right now, I'm trying my best to just rebuild my life here in the States. I've been back since February. A lot of problems that have built up, piled up over here for me, and I'm trying one by one to just make things right.
Anything further?
Nothing comes to mind, Your Honor.
Okay. At this point, Ms. Simantel, do you have questions?
I do.
Okay.
Thank you. Can you please describe your relationship with the RPM business and how you are a 1099 independent contractor?
So RPM team is a company that I'm not an owner of, and I work independently. David Renard is the president of this company. If I find clients that are interested in doing an engineering scope, I go through the channels of the company. So I refer them through RPM, and then the project gets taken in under their contract. They are insured. They have a large network working within RPM. And then if I'm working under the project under a licensed engineer in California, then I coordinate the project with them, complete the work. They review it. I make changes if necessary. It's a coordination element. We discuss things about the project. It gets completed and sent to the client, usually electronically.
So when you say that you work independently, that is in regards to contracts that are not for California projects?
So independently, right now I'm working as a 1099, which means that I am a sole proprietor. That's my understanding. So I'm not on a W-2. I don't get a salary from RPM team. We negotiate the contracts directly with them, and the costs trickle down to the client. Did I answer the question, or?
So in regards to California projects, you're not using your stamp?
No,
California stamp on
absolutely
any
not.
projects?
No.
You began working for RPM in February of 2025?
Correct.
When was, prior to February of 2025, when was the last date of a project that you worked on that occurred in California?
So I left in 2021 in February. So any contracts that would have been in my name directly would have initiated prior to that date. The projects that initiated prior to that date, some of them had questions, RFIs, requests for information, change requests, things like that during that time period. And I don't recall particular projects, but I was involved in the projects that I initiated prior to me leaving the United States.
And how were you involved in those projects?
As a designer, either structural design or civil design.
And what was the date in which you last worked on a California project in that capacity?
As the engineer of record, or in?
First, as the engineer of record, what was the last date that you worked on a California project?
It was prior to the revocation date. I apologize. I don't have the. Do I have ability to open up my luggage right now and look through some documents to see? Is that okay?
If you need to refresh your recollection by looking at documents, just let us know what you're looking at.
Okay. And my phone is okay?
That's fine too.
Okay.
Just let us know what you.
Take a look at my email and see a project that I may have taken, well, that I took from as the engineer of record, the last one. So that would be And I don't have access to that email on my phone. So as the engineer of record, personally responsible, as I took clients in for myself, the last project I worked on was prior to 2021 February, prior to that date.
And it was in February of 2021 that you traveled to Mongolia, is that right?
Correct.
What date did you leave the United States to travel to Mongolia?
I don't have the date in front of me. I believe it was February 18th, if I'm not mistaken.
And you stayed in Mongolia for 4 years, is that right?
Correct. There was a period, I did leave Mongolia the last year because Mongolia is a very, very difficult country. It gets minus 30 Celsius in the wintertime. Their hospitals are very inaccessible. And I had 2 young children. I found it difficult and dangerous for them to stay there because when my youngest daughter got sick, we had to drive through traffic to get to a hospital where they refused her. And then I had to drive through traffic again, which took 2 hours to get to another one where they took her in. It was a very dangerous situation. After that, I decided to relocate. So while I was there in Mongolia, I got remarried. That's one of the things that helped me stabilize my life. Otherwise, it was very difficult for a single father to take care of a young newborn baby and also a child that has symptoms of autism. So I got remarried, and then we together had to find a way to come back to the States. I had a youngest child who had to go through the processes, and then I was also remarried. I had a wife that had to go through a process to come back to the United States. So we left Mongolia momentarily, and we went to Turkey to live in Turkey for a while, where they had better environment for children. So 3 years in Mongolia and 1 year in Turkey.
From February of 2021 until present, can you please tell us where you have worked and the dates of each employment?
I have not worked. I lived off of my savings. My only extent of engineering work during those dates was the upkeep of any projects from the past that came my way with questions. So I did not earn income during that time period.
You submitted a letter from Gerald, G-E-R, or Gerard, G-E-R-A-R-D, Callahan, C-A-L-L-A-H-N. In that letter, it states that you worked on a project in San Francisco. What was the date of that project?
That was an older project. That was prior to my departure.
What was the date?
I don't have the date in front of me. I apologize, but it was prior to February 2021.
Do you recall the year?
2020, prior to 2021. It might have been 2020 since I left in February.
Letter also states that more recently you performed structural design work on a project. This was under a licensed California professional engineer for a project in Sacramento. When was that project?
That's ongoing right now. The design is completed. The construction is ongoing.
When did the project start?
And several months ago. The design started several months ago. I don't want to mislead you with incorrect dates. Just maybe 2 months ago, and the project is commencing right now. The construction is commencing right now in the project.
You also submitted a letter from Darcy, D-A-R-C-Y, Dahlem, D-A-H-L-E-M, states that you worked together on a project in Nevada where you were the engineer of record. Do you recall the date or the date range of that project?
Does it say the address or that's redacted?
It is in McCarran, Nevada.
With Darcy, I believe that the project he's referring to started prior to 2021, and during construction, while I was out of the country, all sorts of questions were coming up, changes were being made, and I accommodated those changes.
And for the record, McCarran is capital M-C, capital C-A-R-R-A-N. The letter also references that it states this was during a very difficult time in Dimitri's personal life, as his wife was seriously ill and later passed away. Even with everything going on, he kept up with his responsibilities and made sure our project stayed on track. How did you ensure during this time in your life, which I take it was while you were in Mongolia, did you keep up with your responsibilities to make sure the project stayed on track?
So the contractor, when they build something like a foundation, they go off of the plans, and sometimes there are things that happen. For example, the foundation is built an inch too narrow, and the anchorage needs to get reevaluated for breakout. So things like that might come up. All sorts of other questions might come up, and they need an engineer's input, perhaps letters of explanation or updates to calculations. And I accommodated Darcy's project with changes like that.
And how did you do that while you were in Mongolia? Was that via email, phone?
Via
How did
email.
you-
Via email.
In your petition packet, you provided a list of projects, and it states on 2 different pages, it states list of projects 2025, which also contains dates from 2024. Can you please tell us the capacity in which you worked on each of these projects? Were you the engineer of record or a combination of both, or these projects you worked on with RPM?
Those are projects that I worked on with RPM. It's a combination of both. So the projects which are located in Nevada and Washington, I was the engineer of record. The projects that are in California or other states where I'm unlicensed under the direction of a licensed engineer. The dates that were 2024 are most likely the dates that the contract was received to RPM.
When did you find out that your license in California was revoked?
I applied for the renewal, and then after the renewal was rejected, it stated that it was revoked.
When did you attempt to renew your license?
I don't have that date in front of me.
Do you recall the year?
It was well, it must have been 2023.
Do you recall the month?
I do not. Or may have been 2024. I remember it was recent. I'm sorry, yeah.
While you were in Mongolia, did you have access to the internet the entire time?
Most of the time, yes. Some of the parts of Mongolia don't have access to internet because it's a very rural country, but in the city, yes.
When you attempted to renew your license, were you located in Mongolia at the time?
Good question. Where was I? It's a very good question. For some reason, I'm not remembering. It was either Mongolia or Turkey.
You received a conviction in February of 2025 for wet reckless, is that correct?
That's correct.
And that stemmed from a driving under the influence arrest that occurred on February 16th of 2021?
Was it February? I don't recall the exact date. I wish I had a timeline in front of me, but generally, yeah, there was an arrest for a wet and reckless in 2021. I might have the dates wrong because I told you earlier I left on February 18th, but that doesn't make sense with the date of February 16th. So that's,
When did you, and you retained a criminal attorney for that case?
I did, yes.
When did you retain the criminal attorney?
Right after I got the, right after that incident happened.
You stated that you were stranded in Mongolia due to prolonged COVID-related travel restrictions. Is that right?
Correct.
When were these travel-related restrictions in place?
I don't have the exact dates, but they were very severe throughout 2021 and 2022. Generally, if someone had COVID, they had to be under self-quarantine in their home. And the travel was restricted if you tested positive for the virus.
When you left for Mongolia, how long did you intend to stay there?
3 months.
You stated that you had internet access while you were in Mongolia. Did you also have internet access while you were in Turkey?
Yes.
Why did you not change your address of record with the board after you were gone or while you were gone in Mongolia and or Turkey?
That is my fault. I was not sure when I was going to come back. There were other things that were on my mind, including trauma and including all the things surrounding taking care of my kids. It never crossed my mind. And that is a mistake I made.
A board representative mailed a written request to you for a response on December 10th, 2020, and also January 14th of 2022 regarding citation order 11012-L. The December 10th, 2020 mailing was before you left for Mongolia. Isn't that true?
I'm not aware of those, but yeah, December 10th, 2020 is before I left for Mongolia. December 10th, 2020. So you're saying that there was something mailed to me on that date?
The default decision and order states that a mailing was sent to you on December 10th, 2020, to which you did not respond. And you agree that December 10th, 2020 is before you left for Mongolia?
December 10th, 2020 is before I left for Mongolia, yes.
Why did you not respond to the board representative's December 10th, 2020 request?
I'd never received any requests from December 10th, 2020. This is the first time I'm hearing about it.
Complaints were made against you for your failure to complete contracts for locations on Colgate Avenue and Varden Avenue. Why did you not complete the contract for Colgate Avenue?
I believe that both of those projects, the initial scope was completed, which was preparation of the structural design, the plans and the calculations. The follow-up tasks, which are responding to review comments, structural review comments from the building department, which has probably occurred while I was out of the country and unable to, well, they were not able to reach me.
Did you only communicate with clients via telephone?
I was always available via telephone, also email.
You stated that you had email access and you communicated with one of the other individuals with whom
Darcy.
they
Yeah.
provided a letter of support. How is it that you were not able to communicate with these clients via email?
That I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they sent me emails or they just tried to reach me by phone. I don't have that information. But yeah, I even tried looking up to see if I had any correspondence from them, and I did not have any.
How can you assure the board that you will not follow up on contracts again if your license is reinstated?
Should my license be reinstated, I'll continue working through RPM team. I think that's a very good business model because contracts go through them. They are insured, heavily insured. And if anything was to ever happen to me again, let's say, well, I don't want to speculate. If I was to be out of commission again, RPM team would be obligated, and they have the resources and they have the personnel to take that same project and divert it to another engineer to complete the tasks.
How can you assure the board that you will respond to inquiries by board representatives if your license is reinstated?
This is something that I learned my lesson, and I'm going to be very, very careful about making sure that the board has my correct address and can correspond with me effectively moving forward.
Since you filed your petition, have you been convicted of any criminal offenses?
No, other than the wet and reckless, and I don't recall if that was after I filed the petition or before, whether the conviction happened.
I have no further questions.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez, do you have any questions of the petitioner?
No, not at this time.
Ms. D'Antonio, do you have questions of the petitioner?
Yes, I do. Thank you. So you said that, okay, so you're licensed in Nevada, Washington, and was licensed in California. While you were out of the country, you did respond to professional responsibilities and obligations for projects in Nevada.
I made attempts to respond for professional obligations in California as well. Some of the customers were not able to reach me and understandably filed complaints with the board. With Nevada and Washington, I have not had any issues, no complaints. My record with those states is completely clean.
So given the fact that there were clients in Nevada that had follow-up requests for you professionally, did it ever occur to you to reach out to your clients here in California?
Most of my clients were in California, and at the time when I left, I had completed around 600 projects altogether. It did not occur to me to reach out to all of the clients just to make sure that they're okay, although that would be a very good business ethic. Usually how it worked in the past is clients reach out to me if anything happened, but given that I was going through a very tumultuous time, it also didn't cross my mind to initiate that.
And you were able to maintain your licensure in Nevada and Washington, correct?
That's correct.
And so how were you able to maintain that licensure and not in California?
In California, I lost my licensure. It was revoked because several past clients filed complaints. I did not receive the correspondence from the board and did not attend the hearings, and by default was found, I guess, guilty. I'm not sure if that's the right word. My license was revoked.
So the renewal period for Nevada and Washington, did that fall within the time period that you were out of the country?
I did have to renew my license shortly after leaving the United States, I believe for Washington, and that was a period of 2 years. And then I did have to renew my licenses for Nevada and Washington. That is correct.
And you did it while you were outside the country?
Yes. correct.
Did you change your address for Nevada and Washington?
I only changed my address once I returned back to the States when I started fixing my problems. So that was an issue with Nevada and Washington as well.
Okay, so the renewal period for Nevada and Washington did occur while you were out of the country.
That's correct.
Did the renewal period for California occur while you were out of the country?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so, but I guess the complaints had already come in before.
Yes, that is correct. And no complaints in Washington and Nevada, but I did make a mistake in all three cases of not updating my address until February when I came back.
No other questions, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Waldeck.
No questions.
Ms. Haggard?
I wanted, excuse me, sorry. I wanted to ask you if you could please spell your name.
DMITRIY LASHKE V as in Victor ICH.
Okay, thank you. The reason I asked is I pulled up RPM Team's website and I do see a Dmitry Lasovic, PE, CTO. The name is not spelled.
They misspelled my name, yes.
Okay.
And that needs to be corrected.
What does CTO stand for?
It lists me as CTO, Chief Technical Officer.
Okay, so you are an officer of RPM Team, but a 1099 employee?
A 1099, yes. I'm on a 1099. I'm not. Yeah, that is an interesting question. If I'm listed as officer, am I not able to be a 1099 employee?
I'm just asking the question. Just trying to confirm that this picture and this
Yes, the
name is you.
picture is me. That needs to be changed. You're absolutely right. Since I started in February, they misspelled my name, which is a common thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Dr. Asghari?
I have no question at this time.
Mr. Hartley?
Yes, I have a question. And I don't know who to ask this question to, but I'm looking at page 35 of the petition packet that was sent in PDF form. And I'll read that a board representative on or about December 10th, 2020 and January 14th, 2022 related to complaint investigation case number 2020-06-128. So my question is, were you aware that there was an investigation when you left to go to Mongolia?
No, this is the first time hearing of it.
May I reserve the right to ask a question at the end?
Yes.
Thank you.
Dr.
No
Oxnard?
no further questions at this time.
Oh, thank you very much, Your Honor. Mr. Lashkovich, while you were in Turkey as well as in Mongolia, how did you survive financially? I know you did mention you had savings that you were utilizing. Did you have other sources of income while you were overseas?
I did not have other sources of income. I burned through my savings and had, well, used credit cards that I had and things like that.
And as far as having a cell phone, I know it's a necessity today. How did you go about with your day-to-day life in those countries without, or with a cell phone communication?
No, I had a cell phone. You can get SIM cards, and they have to, either tourist SIM cards or things like that that you can get,
Mm-hmm.
and data.
Okay. And were you able to communicate with anybody here in the mainland United States, friends, relatives, who would perhaps check on your mail at home or?
So I have a mom that lives in the Bay Area. I lived in Los Angeles. My mom is on disability. She's disabled. It's not possible for her to make it to Los Angeles. I lost access to my lease agreement, and I expected to be back to my leased apartment, and I expected to be back within 3 months when I left. So I took the key with me. I did not have anybody with the ability to go and check the mail
So no close friends, relatives?
that had access to the mail. No, no.
So in retrospect, if you were to do things differently, what would you do?
So moving forward, I'm going to continue working through an organization. I see that working as a one-man shop has a lot of downfalls. Working with an organization, you have a safety net. And in hindsight is 2020. I would not have left the United States during COVID. And maybe my wife would have been alive if we would not have done that. But yeah, moving forward, I've made changes to the way that I conduct business, so that something like this cannot happen again through the use of our PM team, through working with them, partnering with them, using their resources.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Matheson?
Thank you. I have no questions.
Ms. Wong?
Yes, I do have a question. So it looks like, so maybe let me ask the fact question. So when did the DUI happen?
The exact date, I don't know, but I do recall that it was several weeks prior to the planned departure to Mongolia.
So that would be 2020.
It must have been 2021 since I left in February.
Okay, all right. So it's several months before. Okay.
So several weeks before.
Several weeks before.
Weeks before.
Thank you. So when you were planning to stay in Mongolia for 3 months?
Yes.
And then you ended up staying longer.
Yes.
So during that time, projected stay, were you planning to conduct your business in Mongolia?
Once I landed in Mongolia and it became clear, well, the first thing that happened is that I tore my Achilles. I had to get surgery there, and it took several weeks to get signed up. When I saw that things started escalating, I focused only business side of just taking care of my existing clients, trying to address questions by email. I got a voice over IP phone number eventually that allowed me to communicate over phone as well. So I had to make structural changes, but I saw that I could not take on new clients because given that I'm overseas, and if there's ever a site visit that's needed or something else, I can't even sign a contract.
So it was limited for sure.
Limited, yeah.
Yeah, it was very limited, but am I hearing, so when you said when things started to escalate, what do you mean?
So after coming to Mongolia, shortly after, I tore my Achilles.
Right.
And I didn't know what that was even. I just knew that my leg wasn't working and it hurt. So after a week, I went to the doctor, and the doctor said that I needed surgery urgently. Otherwise, I'm going to be potentially disabled for the rest of my life. to sign up as a foreigner for surgery in Mongolia, it's not an easy process. It's not right the next day. So it took several weeks for me to sign up for that. After I got my surgery, that's the first thing. After I got my surgery, they gave me an epidural. I was awake. They did the surgery. I was in the place where we were living, but I was very immobile. I had to be on crutches, and my leg was in a great deal of pain. At that time, our family contracted COVID. And the symptoms at first were not very severe. It was just like flu-like symptoms and loss of smell, loss of taste. But it dragged on for a very long time. We kept testing positive about 3 months, and we were under house quarantine. We were not allowed to leave the home. And in that time period, that's when my wife became unexpectedly pregnant. During the pregnancy, in the early stages, her blood pressure started fluctuating dangerously, and she had to be hospitalized. So that's what I mean. I mean, it was like back-to-back cascading effects.
So that was your physical health.
And my physical health, my
COVID.
wife's physical health, her being taken to the hospital, the dangerous blood pressure levels, the doctor advised against flying back home. So we decided that, okay, we're going to stay here until we give birth. And then, once we knew that I'm going to stay here for an extended period of time, that's when I started trying to make all the plans to at least address client concerns, to try and keep up on things, but it didn't go as planned.
So what would you say your capacity to work during the time when you were so sick?
Well, my work was certainly very limited, but I did not take on new clients. So the work that was started to flow in was only the past projects. Even without a leg, I could still use my computer, and yeah.
So did you realize that you were falling behind in the projects?
I did feel like I was drowning at certain times with emails and things. So yeah, that was a realization. I did my best to try and keep up on everything. But I think some of the customers, they were not able to reach me by phone. And one of the things I also did in order to stop the incoming inflow of new clients is I turned off my marketing that I did on Google. I had like a Google Pages and other things, so I turned those off so that new clients don't try to reach me. And the clients, I think, that were trying to call me were not able to get a hold of me, and they filed complaints. Yeah. So the remediation, I understand the things that went wrong, and something like this will never happen again. Especially, I'm going to continue to structure my business activities in a way that there's a safety net, so that if something ever happens to me, I fall sick or anything else, that the clients will not be hung out to dry.
Absolutely. So change direction a little bit, allow me. You talked about the word trauma.
Yes.
And so I am wondering, that, you as a professional engineer, now I'm not talking about mental health, but just really, it's important for you to have sound and professional judgment for your work. So, so what do you do, to really maintain, your professional competency and judgment, also knowing that the trauma might still affect you?
So the trauma that I had, I don't think that, I mean, in certain ways, of course, after experiencing something like that, my wife died in my arms. I had similar to PTSD flashbacks for a long time, but my mental state was not really compromised. I'm still a logical person. I can comprehend. I can reason. Yeah, trauma itself is. I mean, the way that I worked through it was just one step at a time. I had a newborn child. I had no choice. I had no choice but to just keep going, one step after the next. And it's 3 years went by. I mean, the trauma is still in my heart, but I mean, I can live with it. I have to, right?
Thank you very much. I have no further question, Your Honor.
Thank you. Does any other board member have questions?
Yeah, I have a couple of follow-up questions. So again, going back to your licensure in.
For the record, this is Ms.
Oh.
D'Antonio.
Rosanna D'Antonio, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. Going back to your licensure in Washington and Nevada, it's my understanding that those states have a continued education requirement, and you were able to how were you able to fulfill those requirements outside of the country?
They have online coursework, and it's, I'm just in the way that I do things, I constantly read, constantly take classes on Udemy. Most recently, while in Mongolia, for example, I took a Udemy course on, what was it, Revit, which is a 3D modeling software used by many manufacturers and for structural analysis. There's, online courses mainly.
So it sounds like you were keenly aware of trying to keep up with the licensure in Nevada and Washington, but somehow California didn't rise to that level?
Oh, that's not true at all. I was keenly aware of the requirements for Washington and Nevada. California does not have, I believe, an education requirement. So I'm aware of that as well. What I was not aware of was the mail that was coming in and the complaints that were being made.
So with regards to the mail, so you said that you expected to be out of the country for 3 months?
That's correct, yes.
Did you put a stop order on your mail, or was the mail going to accumulate for 3 months?
Oh, that's a good question. I did not put a stop order on my mail, no.
So do you know what happened to all that mail?
I do not know.
Okay, no further questions. Thank you.
Any other questions by board members?
Go ahead.
Hero Martinez, you mentioned that you were in Mongolia and Turkey for an extended period of time and that you lost your lease to your home during this period. What happened to everything in your home?
They took it out, threw it out. Yeah, I did have a friend that came by and took what they could, some jewelry, some documents and things like that, but the couches, the TVs, all of that stuff was just disposed of.
Thank you.
I have one follow-up question. This is Michael Hartley. It's back to the date that I'm still struggling with. Is it your understanding that all of the complaints that were filed with the board happened while you were in Mongolia?
That was my understanding. What was the first? I don't even know this complaint on the 20th. Does it say any information about it?
Well, I'm wondering if it's possible there's a typographical error. I'm looking at the default decision and order for case number 1300-A, which contains an Exhibit A, which is an accusation. And the accusation talks about 5 different causes for discipline, and there was supposedly a board representative on or about December 10th, 2020 and January 14th, 2022. So I'm wondering if it ought to say December 10th, 2021 and January 14th, 2022, which would make more sense if you were in Mongolia. But to your knowledge, there were no complaints filed while you were in the States before you left for Mongolia?
No, this was a big surprise to me to learn this, that 2020 date.
I guess I won't be able to get any more clarity on that. So I don't have any more questions.
Does anyone else have additional questions? Ms. Seamantle, any further questions?
2 questions, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
In regards to complaints opened against you, did you become aware of those when you found out that your license was revoked?
That is correct.
When you renewed your Nevada and/or Washington licenses, during that process, did you have to confirm your address of record with those boards?
I did, yes.
So during the renewal process, you did not update your address of record with those boards. Is that correct? Since you earlier stated that you did not change your address until you were back into the country?
The the most recent update that I did was state of Washington. That was most recent. That was done here right now while I was in the States. Prior to that, it was 2 years prior, and I expected to come back as soon as possible. So no, I did not update the address. I kept it the same.
The 2 years prior would be in 2023, is that right? Since we are currently in 2025?
That sounds right, yes.
And you went to Mongolia in February of 2021, is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
At what point did you determine that you were not going to be coming directly back to the States?
Once the doctor told my wife that she's advised to not travel by plane due to her heart condition, which was in 2021 until she gave birth. But I still figured I'd be coming back to the States as soon as that happened.
So 4 years, you did not, for approximately 4 years, you did not update your address of record with California, Washington, or Nevada?
That is correct.
I have no further questions.
Any other follow-up questions? Okay. Ms. Seamantle, do you have any comments you would like to make in summation?
Just briefly, that if the board decides to reinstate petitioner's license on probation, that an appropriate condition would be compliance with orders of abatement and payment of the administrative fines from the 3 issued citations, that be considered.
And sir, any closing comments?
I would just like to state that there was a lot of confusion, a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety while I was out of the country. There was a lot of uncertainty as to when I was going to come back to the country. When I was renewing the licenses, I did not have a better address to put, and I made the mistake. It was a very dumb mistake. I should not have done that, and I will never do that in the future. I'm going to make sure that my addresses are completely up to date on any renewal forms. But it's I hope that no one has the impression that I did this maliciously. I did this with fear, anxiety, and hope to return as soon as possible to resolve all issues, and I'll get my life back on track. So for I'm speaking particularly to the addresses. Yes, I did when renewing the licenses in those states, put my prior address. That was the easiest thing to do, and I regret that. That's not something that I would ever repeat again.
Okay, thank you very much. That concludes the petition hearing in this matter. The case is submitted and the record is closed, and we are off the record.
Your Honor, the only thing would be is that I would ask for it just to be open until probably the end of the day to allow me to upload Exhibit 3.
Oh, thank you. So the record will remain open until the end of the day for the submission of Exhibit 3 into Case Center. Thank you. We are off the record. Okay. The board will now go into closed session for deliberations, correct?
Correct. Rick, question for you. Are we going to stay in closed session for the other items? Should we set a time for that? It's almost lunchtime too.
Time constraints, I would suggest you
Okay.
decide how long to go. May want to hold the other closed session
Okay, so we'll go back into the regular after this item when we come back from lunch and then do closed session at then. Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so I'm going to change seats. I'll sit down there and take notes.
I'll figure out what time we come out of closed session so we can go into recess. It's 11:40 right now.
You could, if I correct, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you want to decide when you're going to come back from open session, you can do closed session at lunch.
Okay, let's do that.
You can't come back to open session for that.
So 1:30, what's the board thing? 1:30?
1:30.
Okay, we'll be back at 1:30 from closed session and lunch. So we're now in closed session. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your attendance. We're going to start back up. Is WebEx on as well?
WebEx is ready when you are.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, starting back up into the regular agenda items, we're gonna do a second public comment section since there's a couple of new faces in the room and possibly on WebEx after our technical difficulties earlier today. So I'll open up the floor here in the room for public comment. If anybody has any, come on up.
Mr. Chair, for clarity, which agenda item? Is this for comments not on the agenda, or is this for a different agenda item?
Comments not on the agenda.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome. Yeah, hit the little, no, right at the bottom, there's a gray button.
Gotcha. Better. Michael Perlini, SEOC Structural Engineers Association in California. We're here in our non-agenda items to introduce you to our brand new, as of yesterday, Executive Director 1, Ms. Christine Micah.
Nice to meet you.
Good afternoon, Board of Directors. Christine Micah, I'm the Executive Director for the Structural Engineers Association of California. I started yesterday and I'm very excited to be here to listen to the discussions today. Thank you.
Oh, congrats.
Nice to meet you all.
All right. Any other comments? Seeing none, moderator, can you please open WebEx for public comment?
WebEx is now open for public comment for items not on the agenda. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take a few seconds to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no online requests, do you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes, thank you. Okay, moving on, we're moving on to item 6, administration.
Hello.
Hi.
John Hall with your financial update. I'll start out on page 18 in your board materials is the revenue report. Fiscal year 2024-25 is a lower volume year for renewals. And so the expectation was that our renewal revenue would be down and our overall revenue would be down over the last year, which is what you see on page 18. But we're up over the comparable period, which was fiscal year 2022-23. And as a reminder, renewal revenue is typically 80% of our total revenue. So you'll see that although the delinquent fee revenue is down, it's less than 1% of our total revenue. And so that's not significant in terms of the overall revenue. Our actual revenue for FM13 was about 600,000 higher than our projections, largely due to investment income revenue, and we think that's from higher interest rates. And then our renewal revenues were just about at projection at 9.3 million. Does anybody have any questions about the revenue?
Any questions from the board? Seeing none, I will open up the floor for public comment. Oh, no,
Let's
not
go
yet.
to expenses.
Okay.
On page 19. So our FM1 total projections for expenses for the year were 12.2 million. That reflects the fully encumbered contract amounts that don't always bill out during the course of the year. We do note that CMP services external contracts, they're the ones that typically don't bill out full. And so our actual expenses came in at 11.5 million, which is under the 12.2 that we projected. We will continue to monitor expenses in the Attorney General, OAH, evidence, witness fees, and court reporters, as these line items were higher than we projected. And the fund condition is on page 20. I'll note that in September 2020, oh, I'm sorry, July 2024, in July 2025, in the board materials, we were projecting an ending fund balance of 1.7 million with 1.6 months in reserve of expenses. But with actually the lower expenses and a little bit higher in revenues, we're projecting now about a $2.7 million fund balance and 2.3 months in reserve.
Maybe you've already answered this.
So the question is about other revenue on page 18. The total is about $340,000, and about $300,000 of that is investment income. That was the higher interest rates led to interest income on the fund balance. So mostly that's what that is. And that
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Phil, and then
Yeah.
Christina.
So on page 19, you had a surplus of 17%, the very bottom. Page 19, at the very bottom, it says surplus/deficit. It says 17%.
So we were 17% under the governor's budget.
Uh-huh. Okay. So is that what that means?
Mhm.
Okay.
So I want to thank you, Don. You promised that, that you're taking a very conservative approach for the budget. And I think at at month 13, we can see it, that from the fund balance. So that is a really, really good news. I want to thank you for, for the work. My question is that, that 2026 to 27 fund condition, page 20. So the projection, does that include the fee increase?
It does not.
Okay.
Does not. So the budget year 25, 26 and budget year plus one, 26, 27 reflects prior year revenue projections. So we'll be updating those to include the fee increases that we expect to have effective probably July 1, 2026. And it also includes the anticipated governor's budget, the full delegated spending authority. So it's the bleakest outlook. Doesn't usually, as noted, we came in well under the governor's budget for our expenditures, and our revenue projections were about $600,000 higher than we had projected. So,
Right. So this is like the bottom line.
this is the worst that we
This is the worst
imagine it could
scenario.
look. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Don.
Any other comments or questions from the board? Seeing none. Any comments or questions? Any comments from the public? Seeing none in the room, moderator, can you please open WebEx for public comment?
WebEx is now taking public comment. Please raise those hands by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users, dial *3 to raise your hand. And as a reminder to our mobile device
You're
users,
the moderator.
mic check. Is the room able to hear me?
Uh, We're having a couple again. Please bear with us, folks.
Moderator saying that.
He hears us.
All right.
Anyone on WebEx?
We're going to continue asking people to raise hands. Now is the time to raise your hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users, dial *3 to raise your hand. And we will call on people in the order we have requests. All right, seeing no request for public comment, I think we're safe to continue with the agenda.
One of the reasons why. This is one of the reasons why we don't.
Okay, it looks like there was no public comment on WebEx, so we'll take that as a confirmation and we will move on to the next item, which is enforcement, item 7.
It looks like the mic is already on. Okay, so page 25 are the enforcement stats.
Okay.
Does anyone have comments or questions?
This is Betsy Matheson. I have a comment on page 26. This happened once before. Some chart doesn't start as 0 at the bottom of the vertical axis. So the complaint investigation phase, the red bars, the vertical axis goes from 330 to 355 cases, and it really distorts the impression of how much it's gone up this year. So only gone up 5 cases. So next month, if that vertical axis can be changed to start at 0 like all the others, I'll be happy.
Okay, noted.
Thank you.
I'll say that if you do, how about I promise to see how it looks, and it may not be visually attractive to have such a small space have that kind of, can I promise to look at it and see as we format it if it's visually appropriate for you? I get it, because it does look like
I think it'll look a lot like the chart with the blue bars just below.
That's true.
If it looks like there's not much change from year to year, that's accurate. And if you really want to know, you can read the numbers above the bars.
I'll see how it looks.
Okay, thanks.
Don't even know how that.
Are there any other comments from the board? I see Christina.
I have a maybe relevant but irrelevant question.
Let's hear it.
So what is the staff size of enforcement unit?
Oh, the hard questions. I think there are 8 enforcement analysts and 1 office technician. And we're down 1. Oh, yes. I'll include myself in that.
So the reason why I'm asking, it's because I was thinking about the citation, right? And the amount of staff efforts, to do the citation and, that kind of stuff. So can you just help me understand, how much kind of staff involved in doing the citation? Yeah.
Sure. We have one citation coordinator who's trying to keep up with this influx of citations. We are considering doing some cross-training to get some help to her. But that then takes away from the complaint investigation as well. We also have somebody who's doing probation monitoring. I should probably put it together at some point for you to explain the extra duties that staff are doing above and beyond the just complaint investigation, because there is a lot. And like Rick said, it's tough being down a position.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, so I was just looking at also, the citation and just knowing that, they really kind of beyond the board's jurisdiction, just seeing the numbers and thinking about like, how much it utilize, we really want the word to use is drained, the workforce of the, the enforcement unit. So thank you very much for the explanation.
Just a quick question about how many online complaints do we usually or typically get on one period?
I don't remember the total complaints received last year was in the high 400s. You recall? Yeah, if you take out some of the duplication from user error entering them in, yeah, probably high 400s, low 5.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other comments from the board? Seeing none, the floor is open for public comment. Any comment from the public? Seeing none, moderator, can you please open WebEx for public comment?
WebEx is open for public comment. If you'd like to make a comment on the enforcement topic, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few seconds to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request for public comment, do you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Brooke. Okay, moving on to item 8, exams and licensing.
Good afternoon. Rick Moore. First thing I'm going to say is Christine from SEOC brought you brownies on the back table. I was forced to give them to you. For good. Thank you, Christina.
Before you back.
For exams and licensing, we don't have an update this time. However, we're right at that low time between exams. Larry Caress, the exams manager, told me that he's expecting to have much more of an update at the next board meeting after exams have been administered. So there's no update on that right now.
We got to do public comment though, right?
Yes, you have to ask public comment.
Are there any questions from the board about no updates from Rick? Right?
Yeah, you did.
No. None. Are there any comments from the public? I see one.
Thank you. Michael Parolini, Structural Engineers Association of California again. We're seeing on the licensure side a very huge uptick in unlicensed individuals or contractors or out-of-country individuals stealing licenses. Stealing licenses, meaning I could sign tomorrow for our friend Ali here, put his name on, I can put it on there. And if a jurisdiction doesn't check or know, or just happen to not know that I'm not from that company or what it might be, it's happening. So I don't know what the answer is. This could have gone in enforcement, but it's not really an enforcement issue right now. It's how do we educate jurisdictions to be checking more often? How do we, I don't know what the answer is, but I think that this board needs to think about how we can prevent this more. Because it's not like it can happen here. I don't know what the answer is, but it's coming up and it's coming often, way more often than it should. Contractors, our sister licensing board, it should be dealing with their people who are doing this on design build things, taking someone's license, putting it on there and saying that they did it. It's happening all over California and other states, but particularly in California these days. That's a problem. It's a real problem. And I think that we need to have that on our radar of how to deal with. I don't know what the answer is. I'm not suggesting anything here, but I'm just putting it out on the radar. I'll probably bring it up again in the future as we keep talking about this and seeing more and more instances. So I guess impersonation, right? And part of it is district attorneys and local level say, oh, it's identity theft. We don't have time to deal with that. Oh, it's a construction dispute. We don't have time to deal with that. Both those things are false. We are here to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the public. And if the district attorneys aren't going to do it, then we have to do it at this level. And it's tough because the board regulates licensed individuals and not unlicensed individuals. It's a tough place to be for this, but we're not getting help from the local level. So that's what I can say. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public in the room? Seeing none. Moderator, can you please open WebEx for public comment?
WebEx is open for public comment on this agenda item. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few seconds to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request for public comment online, do you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes, please. Okay, moving on to item 9, legislation.
Okay, I'm going to begin on near the bottom of page 36 with the legislative calendar. Since the last meeting of the board, it's been very active legislature as it usually is this time of year. So there's a lot of finality in terms of the bills that we're moving through. Early this month, they basically had to clear everything out of the committees, out of the fiscal committees, and off the floor. So I am going to move forward with the first bill, and I do have a few verbal updates based on the statuses that have changed since I wrote these reports up. So moving on to AB 667, that begins on page 37. This was a bill related to the use of interpreters for licensing exams. It's a bill that, as I've said before, has boomeranged back and forth about interpreters and our concerns about that. Basically, the last version of this bill that you're seeing in your materials, they eliminated the actual interpreter from the bill, and it was just going to be the reporting over a few years of language preference. As of September 11th, it moved into inactive status. So essentially, the bill is dead for the year. At the time I wrote this analysis down there, bottom page 38, I recommended the board take a watch position on AB 667 as amended August 29th, 2025. It's up to you if you want to take a watch position now or no position, because it's basically inactive for the year. It is the first year of the legislative cycle, so it could come back. So just want to put that out there to see what you want to do.
Okay. Do I have a motion from the board for a watch position or any comments or questions?
Chair, I'll make a motion to continue on a watch position.
I second.
I have a second from Phil. Okay, is there any further discussion from the board? Seeing none, the floor is open for public comment. Anybody from the public in the room? Seeing none. Moderator, can you please open WebEx for public comment?
WebEx is open for public comment on 667. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a moment to see if we have a request for public comment on 667. Seeing no request, you wish to continue?
Yes, thank you. Seeing no further comments, Selena, can you please take a vote?
President Martinez,
Yes.
Dr. Amistad,
Yes.
Dr. Asghari,
Yes.
Ms. D'Antonio,
Yes.
Ms. Haggard,
Yes.
Mr. Hartley,
Yes.
Ms. Matheson,
Yes.
Mr. Waldeck, Ms. Wong.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to move forward with AB 671, which begins on page 44. There were quite a bit of amendments since the board last saw this. Most pertinent is the amendment that added a section under our 6775 in the PE Act to clearly specify that or clarify that if a professional engineer acting in the capacity of a professional certifier, if they made any false statements, they could be subject to enforcement by this board. It wasn't really necessary. We already had language in 6775 for that, but the committees felt like they needed to have it in there. So it was added. The board is recommending, our staff's recommending the board take a watch position on AB 671 as amended August 25th, 2025. I will say, since the analysis on September 11th, both houses passed this. It's already been sent on to enrollment as the amendment version that you're seeing.
Okay. Do I have comments, questions, or a motion from the board? Christina,
I'll move to support.
to support or watch?
To support the watch.
I have a motion to watch this amendment, this bill with the amendment. Do I have a second?
I second the watch position.
I don't quite understand it. If it's been passed by both and it's being signed by the governor, or not signed by the governor.
Not yet, but it's being enrolled, so it'll be presented to the governor for signature.
And it's already through the process. So how do what does watch mean now?
Well, from my perspective, there's a couple situations. In this case, it signifies that the board has agreed to this. It puts it on record that the board has agreed that this is good, not good, or that you're just monitoring it, whatever you want to do at this point. Many times it's about putting the board's position on record. If it did not pass, and say the previous bill, it's been put in active status or suspense status, where it possibly could come back the second year of the legislative cycle. I think it's more importantly that the board have a position on it so it can be communicated further on.
But as it goes to the governor's desk, if we like it, we would support it. And if we didn't like it, we say oppose. Isn't just saying we're watching this mean we're kind of cool either way? It's okay by us.
Well, to use your own words, Cliff, I would,
Okay,
I
thank
would,
you.
I would say that a watch in this case means that the board is not going as far as liking it, not going as far as not liking it.
Okay,
I think it falls in this case, this bill falls squarely in the realm of the board's enforcement. We didn't think it was necessary to add the language, but it falls squarely within the board's enforcement. Should there be a complaint filed that a professional certifier that's a licensed engineer has made false statements in that role? So it's up to you. In this case, I don't know if it would make much of a difference in this case about a watch or support.
okay,
But if the board did feel strongly about a bill one way or the other, then a letter could be sent to the governor's office before signature.
okay. Got it. So we're not like this.
Betsy?
I think it's good to have a record that we're still watching it. We are paying attention.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, the floor is now open for public comment. Anybody from the public in the room? Seeing none, moderator, can you please open WebEx for public comment?
WebEx is open for public comment on 671, Assembly Bill 671. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a moment now to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request, do you wish to continue with the motion?
Yes, please. Selena, can you please call the vote?
President Martinez,
Yes.
Dodd,
Yes.
Dr. Ascari,
Yes.
Ms. Antonio,
Yes.
Ms. Haggard,
Yes.
Mr. Hartley,
Yes.
Ms. Matheson,
Yes.
Mr. Waldeck,
Aye.
Ms. Wong,
Yes.
motion carried.
And an aye because you liked it, Cliff, or because you?
Okay, okay.
Okay, continuing on to page 57 with AB 742. This is the bill that proposed expediting licenses for applicants who are determined to be descendants of slaves. The board previously took a watch position at the July meeting on this. This is the bill that kind of go hand in hand with Senate Bill 518, which we'll hear about in a little bit. There have been no amendments to this since the last time the board took a position. And this bill did move forward on September 12th to be enrolled. So the board does not have to take, there's no action required of the board at this point, but you can take action.
Are there any comments or discussion from the board on this item? Seeing none,
Have to take no action? I mean, there's no action, right?
You don't have to take action, there's no action yet. You previously have, you have a watch position on it now and it hasn't changed.
Okay.
So my only comment or question is this does not seem to be something that affects our board. I don't think that I don't think the passage of this would affect us, would it?
We honestly don't know. We've never asked this type of question to any of our applicants, nor do I think any of us really care. In terms of, it doesn't matter what their background is in this way. The good thing about this bill is, and why the board was able to get to a watch position, if you remember this bill originally started back in 2024. Can't think of what year I'm in, 2024. And we had a lot of concerns back then because the responsibility to determine whether or not they were a descendant was being put on the boards and bureaus of DCA and on the applicants.
And there was no real profits.
And so we all had a lot of problems with that. How are we going to determine that, us and the applicants? So now this goes in conjunction with Senate Bill 518, where they're proposing to create this bureau underneath the Department of Justice to make this determination themselves under, including other things too, with an application from a person. And then once they make that decision, then presumably if they apply to us for a license, they could provide that information to us and we would have to expedite that application. So it could be, but I would guess it's probably pretty minimal. I don't know.
It's not solving any problem at our board, is it? a
No,
problem?
not at all.
Is it a problem at other boards that have been expressed?
I don't know. I have not heard any other board of DCA or bureau saying that this created, or this was because of the situation that they have run into.
This seems like a very unnecessary bill.
Are there any other comments from the board? Seeing none, we'll open the floor for public comment. Any comments from the public? Also seeing none. Moderator, can you please open WebEx for public comment?
WebEx is open for public comment on AB 742. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a moment now to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request for public comment, do you wish to continue with the motion?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, moving ahead to AB 1341, which begins on page 62. This is the bill related to unlicensed practice in terms of the author seeking to add language under Contractors Practice Act that if any licensed contractor violated or performed unlicensed practice of engineering, survey, and geology or architecture, then they could be subject to discipline by their own contractors board. The board supported this at the July 24th board meeting. There were various discussions, committee meetings, hearings on this. It went all the way to appropriations, and after considering several back and forth amendments or revisions by both the author's office and the opposition through, and it is now in suspense file and dead for the year. It may come back next year. It may not. It may come in a different form. I don't know. That's up to whoever out there. So there's no action required of the board this time because the bill's not active.
Okay. So there's no motion required, but are there any comments or questions from the board?
Is this a bill we supported or a bill we wanted?
This is the bill we supported.
I heard laborers killed it.
There were multiple different parties to the opposition from what I heard, and laborers was one of them, yes. This is also one of the ones, since this has come up the last 2 or 3 sunsets in terms of unlicensed practice for us. This is something the board's been very concerned about for years. This is something that the board could consider if they want to put it on the agenda for the next board meeting, to have us seek an author and move it forward ourselves if we want to, or see what happens with the outside interest. So it's something, it's something that's squarely in the realm of the board if the board felt strong about it to try to sponsor it themselves.
Are there any other questions or comments from the board?
Just one last one that I would. What do we need to do to agendize that?
Just tell me or Guillermo to put the topic of discussion, because usually what I'll do is the last board meeting of the calendar year, I'll ask if there's any interest of the board to have any type of legislation to sponsor, and then staff will look for an author to do that. Of course, we can accept that any year, any time of the year, but we usually try to do it by the last board meeting of the year.
That might invite some participation from the public.
That would likely attract participation from the public.
So at this point, we don't have to do anything, but I really like your idea because I think the unlicensed activity it's definitely part of the board's job, to do something about this. Because the question I asked about the citation, I think it's all related, to that part of it. So, yeah, so in that sense, I strongly support, what you
I
said.
will add that the way this bill was presented and introduced, it involved our board, the architects board, the contractors board, of course, because it was their practice act. It would require some communication, which we already have quite a bit with the contractors board. It would require some communication with them. But it also brought in the structural pest control board. If this board decided to try to sponsor something, we wouldn't have to deal with whether other boards need to be included or not. We could just talk about it from our own perspective. So it's just something else to consider. But I would say the first thing, if this board is interested in doing that, and putting it on agenda discussion, first thing I would do is reach out to the contractors board to kind of gauge their thoughts on it.
Well, they were in support of it.
They were originally in support. They published a support position on it. We were in communication with them quite a bit during this whole process. We did have discussions with them and some of their board members. They're also in a position where they're hearing from multiple other interest groups.
Did they change did the CSLB itself change their position of support?
Not that I'm aware of, no. I have not heard anything to the contrary.
I'd be inclined to have our staff monitor what's going on, and if the CSLB or some of the other more leading agencies would like us to join in a parade, I would let staff assess that, but I don't think I want to be Dick Van Dyke, leading the 76 trombones on this.
I would say the only lead agencies would be us and contractors, really, more than anything else.
Any other comments from the board?
However, I will add that you just heard public comment about unlicensed concerns and contractors that kind of tie right in with this.
The floor is not open for public comment. Any members from the public in the room? Seeing none, moderator, can you please open WebEx for public comment?
We are once again open for public comment. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users, dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few seconds to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request for public comment, do you wish to continue?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, moving on to page 67 with SB 470. This was a bill that sought to kind of formalize some of the way we meet as a body, the board meets, in terms of the Bakley-Keene Open Meeting Act, based on executive orders and other situations over the last few years. This basically mirrors what we're already doing. The board took a position of support at the May 29th board meeting. Since then, there's been no amendments to the bill that the board hasn't already seen, and as of September 10th, it was enrolled. So the staff is basically recommending that there's no further action at this point.
Is there any discussion from the board? Seeing none, the floor is now open for public comment. Anybody from the public? Seeing none, moderator, can you please open WebEx for public comment?
We are now open for public comment on Senate Bill 470. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users, dial *3 to raise your hand. And as a reminder to our mobile device users, you may need to hit the ellipses button, that's the ... in order to find your hand. We're going to take just a few more seconds to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request, you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes, please. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I was reading ahead. Moving on to page 80, SB 518. So this is the bill that was associated with AB 742. This is the bill about establishing the Bureau for Descendants of American Slavery. This bill, the board took a position of watch on this bill in the July 24th board meeting. Amendments to this bill have focused on primarily on how to formalize and set up the responsibilities of that new bureau. It did pass through both houses, and as of September 13th, it was enrolled. We suspect that this may take a few years to actually be set up, because this will be interesting to see how a whole new bureau under Department of Justice is going to be set up. So it may be at least a couple of years before we start receiving any type of applications related to this. We'll see how it unfolds, but I don't anticipate any major impact on our operations at all. And so given the board previously took a watch position and there were amendments to that, staff recommends the board take a watch position on SB 518 as amended September 5th, 2025.
Do I have, oh, go ahead, Betsy. Go ahead.
I recommend that we take a watch position on SB 518 as amended. What Rick said.
Okay. I have a motion from Betsy and a second from Phil. Is there any discussion from the board? Seeing none, the floor is now open for public comment. Any comments from the public? Seeing none in the room. Moderator, can you please open WebEx for public comment?
WebEx is now open for public comment on Senate Bill 518. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few seconds to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request, do you wish to continue with the motion?
Yes, thank you. Selena, can you please call the vote?
President Martinez,
Yes.
Dr. Amistad?
Yes.
Dr. Ascari?
Yes.
Ms. D'Antonio?
Yes.
Ms. Haggard?
Yes.
Mr. Hartley?
Yes.
Ms. Matheson?
Yes.
Mr. Waldeck?
Yes.
Ms. Wong?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to page 89, which is SB 641. This is a bill related to any waivers or exemptions that boards can choose to do in the event of a state of emergency. So for example, the most recent situation was the LA fires earlier this year. There were several executive orders that came from the governor's office. There were ones they were working on in conjunction with the department on how to help those individuals that were affected or impacted by those. And one of the ones that came out was for licensees who were impacted by those fires, to give them an extension of 12 months to pay their renewal fees. They still had to renew their license, but 12 months to pay their renewal fees, things like that. What happens with this bill is this basically says we don't have to wait on an executive order in these situations. Fires, earthquakes, anything that could impact our licensees or even our applicants if something happens like that. The board would have the authority to decide that, okay, we need to temporarily waive a fee for this group of individuals. The board previously took a watch position at the May 29th meeting on this. The updates that have happened since then, basically the Assembly, Business Professions and Economic Committee focused amendments on the DCA, the Department Director's approvals and authority. So what this means really is it separates it out, not all boards at one time. If there's a board that could be impacted more than others or uniquely, the board can say, hey, we want to make this waiver, take action at a board meeting, and then the director has to either approve it or disapprove, and then it can move forward. So that's the essential gist of the latest amendments to that. So staff recommends the board take a watch position on SB 641 as mended, apparently, not amended, mended, apparently need to be fixed, September 4th, 2025. And this did proceed through the assembly for concurrence, and it was sent for enrollment on September 13th.
Do I have a discussion and or a motion from the board?
I'll move to take a watch position.
I have a motion from Christina and
A second from
from Fel. Is there any further discussion from the board? No. See none, the floor is now open for public comment. Is there anybody from the public? See none in the room. Moderator, can you please open WebEx for public comment?
We are open for public comment on the motion for Senate Bill 641. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few more seconds to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request, do you wish to continue with the motion?
Yes, thank you. Selena, can you please call the vote? Excuse me?
Who made the motion?
I do. I first.
You know, with a second by Fel.
No.
Martinez,
Yes.
Dr. Amistad?
Yes.
Dr. Ascari?
Yes.
Ms. D'Antonio?
Yes.
Ms. Haggard?
Yes.
Mr. Hartley?
Yes.
Ms. Matheson?
Yes.
Mr. Waldeck?
Yes.
Ms. Wong?
Yes.
Motion carried.
I wasn't sure that was you, Phil, at first. It was yes.
Carbonated soda.
Okay, I'm going to move on to page 108. This is Senate Bill 861. This is the bill, is the omnibus bill from the from the Senate Business Professions and Economic Development Committee. This came in from a request from outside interest to the committee. They sought our insight on this, and we agreed with it. The board previously took a support position at the July 24th meeting. What this does, it makes an amendment to Section 8764.5 of the Professional Land Surveyors Act. It basically adds a date field to the surveyor statement for a record of survey, which is consistent with other sections of the law too. So we felt that was long past being necessary. It was a good idea. There's a reason why the board took a support position last time. There were amendments made subsequent to the board's last action. They were unrelated to our sections about the boards, but since there were amendments, I believe the board should consider reaffirming the support position on SB 861 as amended September 4th. And this did pass on September 13th assembly and was sent for enrollment.
I move that we support.
I have a motion from Mike,
Second.
a second from Desiree. Is there any discussion from the board? Seeing none, floor is now open for public comment. Any comment from the public? Seeing none in the room. Moderator, can you please open WebEx for public comment?
WebEx is open for public comment on Senate Bill 861. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a moment now to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request, do you wish to continue with the motion?
Yes, thank you. Selena, can you please call the vote?
President Martinez,
Yes.
Dr. Amistad,
Yep.
Dr. Ascari,
Yes.
Ms. D'Antonio,
Yes.
Ms. Haggard,
Yes.
Mr. Hartley,
Yes.
Ms. Matheson,
Yes.
Mr. Waldeck,
Yes.
Ms. Wong.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Moving forward into item 10, Executive Officers Report.
Okay, I'll begin on page 197 with the rulemaking status report. The only update to this, and it's a good update, is related to item 1, the board's regulatory or rulemaking package to change the fees were approved by the department and have been submitted to agency for approval on September 3rd. I heard an update this morning that it's there, and we're hoping for a smooth review in that. I imagine it probably would be. I would hope so. The rest of now that has moved on, now our staff are able to focus a little bit more on the remaining 3 items, plus hopefully start moving into the UK MRA rulemaking the board has previously authorized. So that's the update on that. We're happy to get 1 through this stage.
Good. Comments? Okay. Is there any discussion from the board on this item?
I just want to thank whoever the staff responsible for the rulemaking to push it forward.
Oh, it's Angela. Angela is our staff person. She works under Don in administration. She's the rulemaking guru, whether she likes it or not, at our board. And our DCA counsel, DP, I think she's there. She's here. She helps us tremendously with these. So we're happy to have that kind of expertise.
Thank you so much. This is so important to just keep that moving, to catch the timing so that, our finances is healthy.
Are there any other comments or questions from the board? None. The floor is now open for public comment. Anyone from the public? Seeing none. Moderator, can you please open WebEx for public comment?
WebEx is now open for public comment on rulemaking. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of your screen. Dial-in users, dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a moment now to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request for public comment, do you wish to continue?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I'll move forward with personnel. Not much to update other than we still have all the great staff that we've had for many years, and we hope to keep them here. And the only position we have open right now is still the senior registrar engineer position that we have seen a few exams submitted for that position and hope to receive some applications over the rest of this calendar year. And hopefully we'll be able to interview someone soon.
Is there any discussion from the board? Seeing none. Floor is now open for public comment. Anyone from the public? Seeing none. Moderator, can you please open WebEx for public comment?
WebEx is now open for public comment on personnel. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users, dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take a few seconds to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request, do you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I'll move forward with item 10C, ASBOG, Association of State Boards of Geology. The fall annual meeting is coming up the week of October 13th, I believe. We're still waiting on approval of our out-of-state travel request for that so that Betsy can attend. We're hoping, knock on wood there, that we get that approved so she can attend. I did look through the materials for the fall meeting. I didn't really see anything that jumped out on me. I asked Betsy if there was, or Josh, if there were anything. They didn't see anything that really jumped out at them that required a great deal of a discussion by this board. But that's the update on that. I will plan to attend virtually on the Board Administrators Day, which is Tuesday, the 14th, I believe. That's it. Any questions? Betsy, anything you want to add? No.
Question from the board? No, seeing none, floor is now open for public comment. Any comments from the public? Seeing none, moderator, please open WebEx for public comment.
WebEx is open for public comment on ASBOG. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. And the group continues to be lively.
Lively. Okay, I will move on to 10D in CES. So the annual meeting was August 19th to the 22nd. We have a report from that. The approved delegates from this board were off of my peripheral vision on both sides, Rosanna and Christina. So take it away. How do you want to report on what you saw and observed and experienced?
So I can kick it off, and then Christina, if you want to add. I mean, personally, I think this is another great annual meeting. And for me, I've actually found a lot of value or increased value as I've gotten involved more in committees. And this year it was in New Orleans, which was just shy of the 20-year anniversary of Katrina. So for me, it was significant given the fact that well, I'm an engineer, but I also spent many years working on emergency management. So the weather we could have done a little bit without, but other than that, it was a spectacular show. And so there's a couple of things that are noteworthy, and I'll just go through them fairly quickly. The Virginia board introduced a motion that would expand the board of directors to include a voting member of the MBAs, so the member board administrators, so Rick's colleagues. Right now, MBAs, there is one representative on the board, but they have no vote. And so they introduced this motion to try to expand the board. It was not received very well. There's a lot of politics involved, and so it was referred back to the MBA committee for further review and vetting. The licensure committee, the whole charge of the licensure committee, which is a fairly new committee, is to expand opportunities for licensure, especially like in the engineering, technologist professions, and also international applicants, which includes the MRA. We got an update on the MRA that right now there are 10 states that are already implementing the MRA. The mutual recognition agreement, between the UK and the United States. And it's meant to recognize professional qualifications across the pond. There are 28 boards that have proclaimed that they intend to participate in the MRA. There are only 4 candidates so far that have successfully gone through the process. Two of those NCWS members gave a brief presentation on their experience. One of them is Scott Sales from Arizona, and the other one was a young lady from Nevada. And there are still hiccups. There's still a lot of problems. There's a few things that need to be ironed out, but the fact that we already have 2 of our U.S. professional engineers recognized in the UK, I think is spectacular. And perhaps for next meeting, we could get an update as to what our process is and, you know, what the status is on implementing it here in California. A couple of presentations that were also noteworthy in this climate where there's an appetite for less regulation. Some boards are in danger of being eliminated, believe it or not, like Florida, which I find absolutely shocking given the fact that that's where we had the Champlain Towers collapse. And yet here we are. So NCWS reported that the Alliance for Responsible Professional Licensure will be becoming more active. They will be hiring lobbyists to be more influential in guarding boards from the pressure that may be exerted from the executive branch of the government. One of the arguments to eliminate or consolidate boards is that there's a cost savings, yet there's no data to substantiate that. It's all anecdotal. And so ARPL, which is the Alliance for Responsible Professional Licensure, will become more active in advocacy and requiring some of that data to justify that position.
Can I ask a question on that alliance?
Sure.
How is that funded?
I do not know that.
Which alliance is? It's made up of basically NCWS and their sister organizations, landscape architects, accountants, architects. There may be one other there, but it's mainly a group of those people. There's quite a significant investment to be involved with that, but that's the group that's involved.
And there are other professional organizations like the American Society of Civil Engineers, the American Public Works Association. I don't know if the chemical engineers have anything like that, where some board members from certain states are not allowed to do advocacy.
Right.
They're actually prohibited from that. And so those boards are probably going to have to rely more on these professional organizations to do that. Our very own Carl Josephson did an update on the structures working group. And I'm certainly not going to try to get into the weeds of that, but know that at the end of the day, there's a structural task force that will be formed in this calendar or this fiscal year, and that will pursue additional recommendations that this working group has done. Speaking of Carl Josephson, he was also honored with the President's Award for his service at a very nice award ceremony. So congratulations to him. I think he's here. I'm not sure. Yes. Elizabeth Beckett Johnson from Alaska was sworn in as president, and Samuel Wilson from Maryland was elected president-elect. And Christina, I don't know if you have anything to add.
You do it so professionally. I was like, is there anything you missed? I don't think so. But I can speak a little bit about my experience too. So I'm on the finance committee, and one of the big charge really is to transfer $9 million, $9.4 million from the organization to the NCEES Foundation. And it was very wonderful that, committee members were willing to stand by to explain and just to support, and I think the committee members they did such a beautiful job, delivering the message, and, and I think the vote went perfectly. It went great. So I mostly hang out, want to support, the NBA, in regarding adding the voting member, on the board. So, so I joined the forum, the NBA forum, and really spoke up from the public member point of view, that why I think it's so important, to add a member, for the NBA to be a voting member on the board. So I was very happy because I think it was very well received. So, so it was great. It was all in all, it's a really wonderful meeting, and I learned so much about, about the national organization, and, and from different states about, what's happening to them, and, some current issues and stuff. It's really, really wonderful. Also, have that opportunity to celebrate Carl, and, went to the reception, and, it was really a great experience. And so, yep, the rain did fall on me, and I was wet, but not complaining. So I think that was, that's about it. Yeah.
So I think neither one of you answered what we all want to know is how many beignets did you eat?
Well, beignet done that. So how about this? Beignet, you know, at the day we were there, and then for me, beignet before I left.
There you go. So to add a little bit to that from NCWS State of Council call, subsequent to this meeting, we had a State of Council call, I think it was last week or week before. They also approved a charge to change the name of member board administrators to member board executives to better align with the titles that we all typically have in our positions. And also, since you brought up the UK MRA, I recently became aware by email that since the MRA has become effective, there have been about 55 applications come into NCWS as the international PE from UK chartered engineers. I think a majority of them have already been approved and gone on to apply to their various states and that are participating and become licensed in various stages of that. But not all of them have completed their records yet. What's interesting to me that I thought I would bring up, and this I just got this email earlier this week, is only 12 of those applications are associated with civil or structural. The majority of them have been electrical, mechanical, with sprinkling of chemical fire and so on. So I thought that was really kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It kind of matches the trends we're seeing with our license over the last few years. That's all I have to add.
And Rick, maybe, I'm not sure if at the next meeting, you could give us like a status of what our rulemaking or whatever it is in order to make this official here in California?
Yeah, I can. Not much has changed at this point because I've been trying to give our budget analyst, Angela, some breathing room with the other rulemaking, not to mention out-of-state travel request. So I expect, I'm hoping that you'll see it on the rulemaking report this next time.
Great.
That's the plan. I hope to have some more discussion with her about that. I've just been trying to give her a little breathing room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thank Angela.
I will.
There any further discussion from the board? Seeing none, the floor is not open for public comment. Any comments from the public? Come on up, Carl.
The grumpy engineer.
So again, I want to thank the board for letting me continue as an emeritus member so that I can participate at national level. I really appreciate that, first of all. Secondly, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but the Structural Practice Task Force had its first meeting this morning. It had its meeting at 9 o'clock while you guys were in closed sessions. That worked out well for me, actually. But
we can accommodate you.
We did get 7 charges from President Johnson, and just so that you're aware of it, one of them is talking about significant structures. I know we've talked about that several times in the past, so that will come up again, and again, it'll be interesting to see what this board decides, if anything, to do with that. And then secondly, one of the big topics that they're going to talk about this year is there a reason why the structural engineering license is a post-PE license? In most, other than the Western states, most other states, it's an initial license. And so that is something to consider. There's going to be a study of that, and the study will be presented as part of the task force, but it's something to consider long-term.
We had an interesting study.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, and congrats again.
Thank you.
Carl, are you chairing that committee or task force?
That's Chun Lau from Washington's chairing it.
Are there any other comments from the public? I see none. Moderator, can you please open WebEx for public comment?
WebEx is open for public comment. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a moment to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request for public comment, do you wish to continue?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I will move on to page 198. We're actually coming a meeting early for this time because Selena is hoping to try to arrange for meeting locations. And she figures if the sooner she gets these on your calendars before anything else gets on your calendars, then you have no excuse. So our tentative board meeting calendar on page 198, 2026, working around all the various different other matters we need to watch, legislation, NCWS, ASBOG, just different meetings. This is our proposed calendar. We always set aside 2 days. I get that question all the time. We always set aside 2 days. Today was a perfect example for why. If we weren't able to get that WebEx set up, we would have had to possibly cancel today and go into tomorrow. So that's one of the reasons why we always try to set aside 2 days, even though it's been several years that we've really used more than 1 day. I think we did it once last year. We possibly could have hearings come up too, like today. So that could very easily happen. So does anyone, since you've seen this now for a week, does anyone have any concerns with these dates? Christina?
So I really don't want to ruin my perfect attendance. So March 12 to 13, that's going to be the Finance Committee meeting. So can we move it either 1 week up or down?
Okay, Selena will make note of that and see what she can,
That would help me as well.
that same meeting?
That same meeting in March 12th, I have a conflict which would not prevent me from attending, but if we moved it, then I could attend both.
Yeah, but now you added that, it's less we care, so. Now, good to know, 2 of you. Anything else that jumps out at anybody at this point? I know you probably don't have that many things scheduled that far in advance.
Just want to say, if you're going to move that, if you could move it the week before to the 5th would be better.
Okay,
I may not be able to attend May.
okay. So Selena, I assume, is making notes of all this. Since she does minutes, I'm sure she is making notes of all this.
If May were to be moved, would that cause other people problems?
Depends which week.
Up or back a week?
Because that is the Western Zone.
Oh.
Oh, that's the NCWS Western
Station. And it was always so strict.
How about May 14, 15?
I just wonder if there's any, I guess that's still a week clear of graduations, or are there going to be graduations starting like May 18th?
Well, I do have one graduating. I'd be happy to look at a matriculation schedule.
I have one graduating too.
Last one graduating. College, that is.
So tentatively right now, May 14th, 15th.
May 15th.
Presumably, that would be good timing for us, either one of those dates, because of, presumably we'll be approved to attend the Western Zone NCWS meeting, because it's going to be in Bend, Oregon, and I don't recall any time we've ever been denied out-of-state travel to the neighboring state.
Okay. Yeah.
Anything else jumping out?
I also want to say if you want to move March, 5 or 6 works for me, not the 19 or 20.
Okay, so we can modify it. So the March meeting will take place March 5th and 6th, and we can move the May meeting to 14th and 15th. Are those the only changes?
I need to check on the 14th and 15th of May. I'm not positive. I can
Okay,
make it.
okay.
I would prefer the 7th and 8th, but I understand Betsy's wanting to change it.
And then you'll send a revised,
Yeah, I'll come back at the next meeting with a revised calendar.
so we should hold these dates now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
Anything comes up within the next, until our next November board meeting, you can bring it up then, but
Well, that way the members are not here today. You could tell them that you've already approved this and
Well, AI says the U.S. Air Force Academy graduation is May 28th.
Oh, then that should be good. We're gonna go, it's like a whole week-long thing, but the 14th and 15th should be good. Thank you.
CSU is 16, 17. But
so it sounds like 14th, 15th is working, Selena.
Thank you.
Right.
Anything else on that topic?
Nothing from the board. Okay. Opening the floor for public comment. Any public comment? Where they're going to make changes to it.
Oh, so we don't need to approve it yet.
Not
Okay.
today. Yep. Come on.
Rob McMillan, California Land Surveyors Association. I had the opportunity to speak with Michael Hank of Caltrans in San Diego last night. Told him I was coming to the board meeting today. And he said, tell them they're welcome here anytime.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Michael Hank is the Caltrans staff member who's helped organize our meetings down there in San Diego, and we appreciate that from Michael. We were hoping to get this next meeting in November down there, but it's only open on Friday right now, so we're probably going to be looking at somewhere else. But we were trying to do that, but we definitely keep them in mind for Southern California each year.
Seeing no further comment from the public. Moderator, can you please open WebEx for public comment?
WebEx is open for public comment. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand. We will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take a few seconds to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request for public comment, do you wish to continue?
Yes, thank you. I think we're done with item 10.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, Rick. Moving forward to item 11, President's Report and Board Members' Activities. I'll start off. I attended on September 16th, the quarterly DCA leadership meeting.
I was, Dallas and I made a presentation about basically the importance of licensure, and then there was a good Q&A discussion, and we did that last January of 2025 at the Fresno State Geomatics Conference. I'm on that advisory council, on the advisory council for that program, and was invited to speak to a senior design class on the same topic. Afterwards, the teacher said that the class really liked it. They want to make it an annual thing. So it's good to see that licensure is important to graduating seniors. And they even said that it would probably be good to talk about it to the freshman class as well. So somehow we're messaging that it's taking effect. Great. Hopefully all those numbers go up.
Christina?
So previous reported, I was in the NCEES annual meeting, August in New Orleans. And I will also be part of the ABET team to participate in, that's it, I know, to participate in their accreditation activity. And that will happen in November.
Anyone else on the board? No. Opening the floor for public comment. Any comments from the public in the room?
Wait.
Oh, Rosanna? Yep.
A general question, who funds that? The ABET visits? Does ABET fund that or do we? I'm just curious.
For when we're invited as board observers, we fund that travel.
We fund it.
We fund it.
Okay, thank you.
Any comments from the public? Seeing none, moderator, please open WebEx for public comment.
WebEx is open for public comment. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're on agenda item 11. We're going to take a few more seconds to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no requests, do you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes, thank you. Moving on to item number 12, approval of meeting minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes.
Have a motion from Mike,
I second.
a second from Betsy. I think she beat you by a second. Do we have any discussion from the board? Nope. The floor is not open for public comment. Any comments from the public? Seeing none, moderator, can you please open WebEx for public comment?
WebEx is open for public comment on agenda item 12. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take a few seconds to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request for public comment, do you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes, thank you. Selena, can you please call the vote?
President Martinez,
Yes.
Dr. Amistad,
Yes.
Dr. Ascari,
Yes.
Ms. D'Antonio,
Yes.
Ms. Haggard,
Yes.
Mr. Hartley,
Yes.
Ms. Matheson, Mr. Waldeck. Mr. Waldeck? Ms. Wong?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. We will now be moving back a couple items into item 5, which is closed session. The regular items are complete for today. I'd like to thank everybody for being here. Thank you for your participation, and I want to thank staff for all their hard work and making our jobs easier. Do you guys want to take a, and yeah, thank you as well for all your hard work on the, thank you as well for all your hard work today. I know it's a challenge. Yeah, thank you. Do you guys want to take a 10, 15-minute break? Yep, all right, 15-minute break. I see a big sandwich over here. So 15-minute break, so we'll be back at 3:15, and we'll go into closed session.
Congrats, you got one graduating from high school. Or CSU.
You do?